Hello everyone, it's me again, and I'm here with another video. This video will be a little more interesting, to put it lightly. More interesting than any other what if I've done on this channel. This, of course, it has to do with Transformers Prime, but it has to do with a character that we never see in the show, but does exist, according to Wheeljack in the episode Loose Cannons. No, it's not Sea Spray. I've already done Sea Spray, so I don't want to say it's Sea Spray. This, right here I'm talking about, is Roadbuster. Yes, Roadbuster exists in the Transformers Prime universe, as Wheeljack confirmed he was one of the wreckers that died prior to the events of the show. We can speculate all day on how Roadbuster died. I like to think Roadbuster was killed during a fight with someone, I don't know, maybe Lockdown or Dreadwing, according to the Villains Wiki, even though that was never really mentioned in the show, so it's strange to think about that. But without any more discussion, as I'll be saving my whole theory on how Roadbuster died for how did the deceased wreckers died theory video that I'm working on in the future. And I'll elaborate on my thoughts on Roadbuster's death in that video. Like, how I believe Roadbuster died prior to the events of Prime. But without wasting more time, let's discuss what if Roadbuster survived. More specifically, what if he was alive by the time of Transformers Prime? But better yet is, what if he survived in Transformers Prime? I honestly think this could have been possible because we never really saw how he died in Transformers Prime. I mean, we know he died prior to the events of the show, but it's not enough to speculate from what if he didn't die. So, I feel like his introduction might have been in the episode Con Job, not Wheeljack's debut. I say this because 2011 marked the release of that episode. And 2011 marked the release of Transformers Dark of the Moon, and Roadbuster was getting popular because of that film. And so, because 2011 marked Roadbuster's popularity year, Roadbuster would be introduced in the episode Con Job. Now, to differ his ship from Wheeljack's ship, the Jackhammer, I would picture it being a reskin of Wheeljack's ship, just with the red being replaced with the green. Or maybe some orange, but preferably green because it just fits Roadbuster perfectly, in my opinion. Now, by the end of the episode, Roadbuster would have scanned a new vehicle mode. But now the question is, could Roadbuster have joined Team Prime? Yes, Roadbuster could have very well joined Team Prime. Heck, he could have even met Jack and Miko. He definitely could have. But a good amount of Season 1 wouldn't have changed very much. I don't think a lot of Season 1 would have changed. Except I think he would recognize Starscream. Like, I think he knows who Starscream is because he would have had some wreckers that fought Starscream Seekers, like, Thundercracker and Skywarp. And some of those wreckers would happen to be Bloodfoot and Impactor. But when Starscream would have found the clones by the time of Season 2, Starscream would, of course, change them into Thundercracker, Skywarp, Thrust Urge, and Ramjet, because those were the Seekers that have fought Roadbuster and Leadfoot and Impactor. And they were obviously the ones who killed Impactor and Leadfoot. Now, Dirge would still die. The Insecticon would still kill Dirge, but Thrust, Skywarp, Thundercracker, and Ramjet would actually survive. And I don't know if it's just me, but I think Megatron would want to make Thundercracker's new second in command, or at least one of the new Seekers. And so what he wants them to do is kill Starscream, or at least bring Starscream to him so he can kill him. And that becomes like a big thing for season 2. And when Dreadwing is introduced, that's also where Wheeljack would be introduced. He still goes after Dreadwing over the murder of Sea Spray. And remember that one scene where Wheeljack mentions a lot of the dead wreckers? Yes, Roadbuster would not be one of them. The mention of Roadbuster would be replaced with mentions of Leadfoot, Topspin, and Twin Twist. The latter two of which were killed during a fight between Dreadwing and Skyquake. Dreadwing killed Topspin, Skyquake killed Twin Twist. And so Roadbuster, Wheeljack, and Bulkhead have greater beef with Dreadwing as a result. Now, Dreadwing would become Megatron's second in command, and rather than Megatron killing Dreadwing, Starscream would be killed by Megatron once he is captured by Dreadwing and the rest of the Seekers. Starscream's death should feel like enough to give RC and Roadbuster closure, but it does seem to be that way for RC. She can let go of Starscream now because of the fact Megatron killed him, and now that Cliffjumper's death has been avenged. But Roadbuster, he still feels like he needs to finish the job because of the remaining Seekers. Now, when Ultra Magnus would have came around by the time of season 3, he would have brought some backup, like Springer and Cop, even Warpath. And I feel like that's all the backup Ultra Magnus would bring, but I think Thundercracker and Skywarp would die. They would die, leaving Dreadwing, Thrust, Ramjet, Soundwave, and Shockwave as the surviving Decepticons. I mean, Soundwave would still be sent to the Phantom... Not the Phantom Zone. The Shadow Zone still, prior to the finale. But then when you get to Predacons Rising, Megatron would not only be reborn, Thundercracker and Skywarp would become Scourge and Cyclonus, like in G1. And of course, Warpath dies. And so does Cop, leaving Magnus, Wheeljack, Bulkhead, and Springer and Roadbuster as the surviving wreckers at the end. While Dreadwing, Thrust, and Ramjet also would die. I think with Thrust, however, I think Starscream's rivalry with Predaking throughout Season 3 and Predacons Rising would be replaced with Thrust having that rivalry with Predaking. So Thrust's fate would be more of an up-in-the-air thing, whereas Ramjet and Dreadwing die. And of course, Scourge and Cyclonus also die. I think Dreadwing would die, being killed by the Unicron-possessed Megatron. Because I feel like that way would provide some poetic ending to Dreadwing's arc and conflict with the Wreckers. And Megatron, of course, would still be free from Unicron's control. That part wouldn't change. And I feel like the movie would still end the same. Because it just would. Optimus would still sacrifice himself to restore Cybertron. That's all I'll say. So that's What If Roadbuster survived in Transformers Prime. Or what if Roadbuster was alive in Transformers Prime? I don't know what would be the best title for this video, but anyways, stay tuned for what if the other Wreckers survived after I do how did the deceased Wreckers in Transformers Prime died. And keep in mind, Sea Spray will not be one of them because it's already known how he died. But anyways, I'll see you all later. Until all are one.